Alright, here's how we'll kick this off. Labour's got its hands deep in taxpayer pockets again, and the coalition isn't exactly sitting back with a tight wallet either. The upcoming federal budget has been labelled as another spending spree, with critics calling the Albanese government addicted to spending. But here's the real kicker. If both major parties are throwing billions around, who's actually looking out for everyday Aussies struggling to keep the lights on? Now, before we get into it, do us a favour, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and chuck your thoughts in the comments. And if you're over the political circus, check out our Albo Says Relax t-shirt, $23 for the next 48 hours. Links in the description. Alright, let's get stuck in. Over the past few weeks, federal Labor has rolled out policies covering everything from health to energy rebates, and, surprise, surprise, the coalition has followed suit, matching the spending blow for blow. The grand total so far? A whopping $16 billion. Liberal Senator Holly Hughes has come out swinging, saying Labour's spending habits are insane and warning that taxpayers are footing the bill for what she calls a reckless renewable energy push. Speaking with Sky News Australia, she didn't hold back. We need to make sure this budget is for all Australians going forward, not just a flashy campaign move ahead of an election. She slammed the government for funneling taxpayer money into energy rebates instead of addressing skyrocketing power prices at the source. And she's not wrong. Remember when Albanese promised Aussies a $275 reduction in power bills? Instead, households are getting a $150 rebate, which barely covers the forecasted $200 rise in energy costs over the next 12 months. That means you're actually worse off, but Labour's marketing it like a win. But here's where things get really interesting. The coalition, despite positioning itself as the better economic manager, hasn't actually provided a concrete plan to pay for all the policies they've matched. When pressed on whether this was responsible, Hughes deflected. We are not going to stand in the way of cost of living relief, but at the end of the day, this is taxpayers' money. And let's be real, it's not even enough to cover what's coming. Labour, on the other hand, insists they are prioritising cost of living support, with Assistant Immigration Minister Matt Thiswe defending the energy rebates. According to him, these rebates are necessary to help Australians through a difficult period, and the government will continue them for as long as needed. We are heading in the right direction, he said, pointing to falling inflation, a growing economy, and low unemployment. But here's the big question. How long does this so-called support actually last? Is it just a temporary band-aid before another cost of living blowout? When pushed on whether these energy rebates would continue beyond the election, Thiswe was vague, saying they'd stay as long as necessary. Which, let's be honest, could mean anything. Hughes wasn't having any of it. She hit back hard, saying Labour's renewables-only approach is what's driving energy prices up in the first place. This is insanity, she fired. We are taxpayer subsidising energy bills because of this government's obsession with renewables. And instead of fixing the problem, they are just throwing rebates at it. She argued that a coalition government would take a technology-agnostic approach, meaning they wouldn't push renewables at the expense of affordability. But it's not just energy where the numbers aren't adding up. Jim Chalmers has spent most of his term blaming Australia's near $1 trillion debt on the previous Liberal government. But here's the kicker. Labor spending is now adding to that same debt at an alarming rate. So, does that mean it's now officially Labor's debt? When pressed, Thiswe danced around the question, claiming Labor was actually reducing debt through $95 billion in savings. But those so-called savings include cuts to aged care and the NDIS, hardly policies that make struggling Aussies feel better about their finances. Hughes, meanwhile, didn't mince words. It's never their fault, is it? She scoffed. Now, apparently, it's not Labor's debt, it's the country's debt. So, for all you hardworking Australians out there, just know that it's your fault, not Jim Chalmers or Anthony Albanese's. And here's the reality. Whether it's Labor or the coalition, the big spend-up is happening regardless. The real question is, who's going to pay for it all in the long run? Will it be another tax hike? More inflation? Further blows to real wages? One thing's for sure, come budget night, Australians will be looking for real solutions, not just handouts that paper over the cracks. Let us know what you think in the comments. Are these energy rebates actually helping, or are they just political band-aids? And more importantly, do you trust either party to fix the cost of living crisis? If you made it this far, you're a legend. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're sick of government spin, grab yourself an Albo Says Relax t-shirt before the sale ends. Catch you in the next one.